Hey everybody, we are back with another episode of the Nintendo Pipeline Podcast. Today is another special episode. But before we get into all of that, hello, my name's CMM. I'm going to be your host today. Today's episode is all about Smash Remix version 1.4, which as of this posting is out. And we're going to talk a little bit about, just remind you what the project is and some of the cool stuff in it today. So without any further ado, I have three very special guests today. If you guys could introduce yourselves.
I'm the Smash Father, otherwise known as Justin. I am the creator, the leader, and one of the, I guess you could say, coders, programmers, developer, whatever you want to use for the project. Should I go on or?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Halo?
Hi, I'm halofactory, also known as Greg or Gregory. I'm a developer on Remix, and I do a bit of coding, sometimes animation, and like other things. Not music though. That's a Pringles thing.
Yeah, that's like one of the things you haven't done.
Yeah, that's my realm. Um, I'm Pringles, otherwise known as Calen, and I am the lead musician for Smash Remix. I pretty much get, otherwise, other than Justin, I have pretty much the final say on what music is selected for Smash Remix. I lead the musician team and try to make sure that we meet a certain standard for our music in the game. And
Yeah.
recently, I've also cheated on my role a little bit and done animation and modeling and whatnot.
Sweet.
Yeah, just to add a little bit there for these two guys. These two guys, they've been with us for a good time now, but are like trying to two of the newer level, upper level members of our team, I would say. Gonna have a formal name for that, but and they've been just kind of a vital breath of life into the project. Having these two guys added to the team when they came along, and has helped us keep going and going strong and even stronger than before. So it's just one thing to add before we dive into the patch.
Hell yeah. I'm thrilled to have you guys here. I'm slightly annoyed that this is the first time I've ever heard Pringles' first name. I just realized I didn't know your actual name.
I don't
So,
believe you. I feel like I've mentioned it
I
before.
don't think you have, but I think it's a cool name for the record.
Full of lies.
Yeah, well, anyway, now that I've lied about that, so we are super stoked because Smash Remix version 1.4 is out today, or whenever you're listening to this. We've added a bunch of different stuff, and I should say they've added a bunch of stuff. I just play test it and pray nothing breaks. I guess we can start very quickly, just to tell people what Smash Remix is in a nutshell. I'll let Justin handle that one.
Okay, so Smash Remix, and if you've watched the episode we were on before, you'll probably hear me repeat myself, but it is kind of like people describe it as DLC. It is meant to honor the original game, so we don't change anything there. We just have additions, supplementary parts to the game that add, I think, really add to it instead of subtracting in any way. And I would say it's like a deluxe version of the original Smash Bros. 64.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I think now the roster is expanded to nearly 30 unique characters at this point. That's including original
It could
content. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
It's
a
hard to
bunch.
keep count.
Yeah. So for 1.4, this update is centralized around a few major characters and stages and additions. The first of which is Goemon. Goemon has made it into Smash Bros. After all this time, and I guess I'll ask you guys, what was your deciding, how did you decide to add Goemon? What was the impetus for his inclusion?
I decided this will be
Justin.
best probably for me here since I kind of made the call on this one. So I decided that we were going to add Goemon a long time ago. I had been a fan of his, obviously, since I was a kid. I played the ones on the 64. Now, there are actually two even bigger fans on the team. Dark Horse, he's played like a bundle of the games, and then Heron Nobody, who we added this patch cycle. They're both super fans, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a cult classic character. A lot of people like him. He's just one of those characters that maybe isn't the most popular, but it's just very 64. There's a very Nintendo 64 vibe to him. At least in America, I don't know. There's many Japanese games, so maybe in Japan he has less of an association. But in America, it's a very 64 character. I felt he was a good fit. He also brought a different style of gameplay that I felt we didn't have. We didn't have anything where duplicative of another character that we already had. He had a lot of potential, which I feel like we executed on. He's a very unique character. He doesn't feel like anybody else. So that's why we added him. We had me as a fan, and Dark Horse was there originally. Then we added Heron, so we had a good source for him. And then, but Halo can speak to this, but he members of the team very much quickly got into Goemon, and I think we made a lot of fans, and we all contributed to this character.
Oh,
I
I'm
mean,
a
I was on
Goemon,
board.
and I'm an enjoyer of Goemon now. I had no idea
Yeah.
who it was when I first heard of
Yeah.
him, but all I had to do was like watch the intro of Mystical Ninja, and I was hooked. Like, just the opening cutscene had me.
Yeah, I
It's a
mean, I
really
was on
good and funny game.
board the second I heard the soundtrack, man.
That's all it takes. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Soundtrack's fantastic. And yeah, I'm also a Goemon fan. I have friends who are super into Goemon as well, so it's like it's very nice to see this character included. I think, and I would agree that he has a unique style of gameplay to him. He's very expressive as well, which I hope people will appreciate when they're playing. His facial expressions are gold. I feel like last patch, like DDD was like the super expressive character with all the funny facial animations, but I think Goemon might have him beat in terms of how wild he is. So Goemon has a lot of interesting stuff going on. He has his up special is his flying cloud that he rides on. He has this grapple mechanic, which I think is very interesting, where his pipe has like it shoot like he swings it out and it will grab onto walls and pull him towards them and as well as opponents. What was the like was that something that was part of his core design from the beginning?
Yeah, the chain pipe for me when me and Jason, aka Dark Horse, were putting his character sheet together, which is the first step. We're just kind of theorizing a character. We put together the sheet with all the moves and animations we're thinking about and how it's all going to come together. The chain pipe, I think, was just one of the most fun and essential moves. Now there was like he obviously has the Rio toss, which is
Hmm.
like you had to have that, but that's not really a thrilling move. I mean, I like how it works that we added that a little like being able to walk is kind of a neat little factor, and
Yeah,
how you can throw really hard. It's a nice move, but it's like it's not anything. It's a projectile. It's a straight line projectile. The chain pipe, I think, really adds something. It is something that I think made me most interested in making the character. I thought it could be more fun. It's like it's the real hook shot kind of effect.
right.
Instead of someone bringing them to you, it adds a new thing, and I think comboing off of it. It's also just really exciting to do in a match. It's risky, as people will learn when they try to do it off stage, but it's if you hit, I mean, it's one of those kind of like I don't know. There's certain moves if you hit in any of Smash Bros. Game where it's just like it's kind of what's it, a dopamine rush
yeah.
or something. It's just like it feels so good to hit that move, and that's what the chain pipe is. So I'd say that's the move where I was like, this is gonna be the big thing that makes him fun.
I love using it
Yeah.
off stage. I SD all the time using it,
Oh
and I
yeah.
don't regret it.
Yeah, I've done that as well. Now it used to so over the course of development, Goemon I think has probably at least compared to last cycle, like he stayed pretty consistent from the beginning. I think everyone sort of just dug him immediately out of the gate. Um, he's had some changes. Like I know that the recoil for down special was used to be a bit longer, and got shortened up a little bit. So I think it feels good right now, um, bringing that out, and the amount of risk that you are taking feels appropriate for the move. Um, did Goemon present you guys any like particular difficulties while you were working out his moveset, or even once he was in game and had stuff going on? Like, were there any really annoying roadblocks that you guys hit?
I'm gonna say like I dreamed up the move set and kind of put together the basic framework. Now, unfortunately, he's not with us, but Frey is the one who kind of executed a lot of that. He did a lot of the coding, pretty much all of the coding for his moves. I think Greg did some stuff for his moves too, though, but he did a great deal of it. Honey slash Jim also helped out with the moveset a little bit here and there, but as far as any big challenges, we had some annoying things that wouldn't be like thrilling to talk about. Like just graphically, graphics are always, just in case you're curious, the graphics are always the most annoying part
Right.
of any design. So like that cloud, I mean that
Yes.
freaking cloud was the biggest pain. It's like pretty much consistent. Graphics are a big pain. Maybe it's because we could have, kind of came with a better graphical system at one point or better understood the way graphics work. But in any case, it's always a pain. So that cloud was our biggest problem. Just getting that thing to spawn and work. I mean, Greg had to
Oh, geez.
a fight with it recently, like right before we finished. He had to get into do battle with that cloud.
I had a
But
moment
that
where I
was like
was
one of them.
done with it, but then I figured it out and got it going with the flashing and stuff.
With the core of his move set, like the actual functionality that a player is going to care about. I mean, that was just pretty much we kind of knew, and I think also got lucky. I mean, we knew basically all the moves we wanted to do, and then they all just worked out. Sometimes you think and then you make the character, and like I feel like we just had a strong idea of going on early on, and that might goes to this the our team's understanding of the character and our team's experience at this point in our development with making new characters.
Yeah, I mean, new, fully unique characters have been more and more common um, lately. Not that you hadn't, you did conquer several cycles back, but last patch was Marina. This time we had Goemon, and then there's also a couple of additional characters which I think we can talk about now. So this time we have two extra variant characters. We have Slippy from Star Fox 64, who I think if some people were around, a while back, I know Frey had kind of made on the side and wasn't really intending to include it in the project, but he's made his way to it. And then there's another unique character in the form of Peppy Hare, who has several really unique moves. So, I guess yeah, I'll ask you guys too. What was the impetus behind finishing, having all of the Star Fox clan there? What was sort of like the inspiration for including Peppy and all of that?
So basically, well, part of it was, and this is not really all of it, but there's like we have added pretty much every character that was theoretically going to be added to the game at this point. If
Hmm.
you read the notes, we used to get this all the time. Like, you guys need to add DDD and Mewtwo and Marth and
Right.
um,
The big asks.
Bowser because is there because he was going to add them and then he didn't. Sakurai. And we've done those, but then like there's other things too. And one of the ones is like this is a deep cut. Few people know this one, but I saw one guy say like, well, they didn't like Sakurai had, and this seems like if you read what Sakurai says about this, this is like something he had an idea that he might do, and like there was no work ever done on it, but he was just like he thought about the idea of having the different costumes for Fox just literally be Falco and Slippy and Peppy. So that's just like a thought he had, and I'm pretty sure like no work was done on this, but
Hmm.
maybe there was. But so I was just like, okay, you know what, we'll do it. And Ben had done the work on Slippy, so it was pretty easy just to add him in. We didn't think we were going to do it, but we added them as a boss character or like a one player character, basically. They're not intended for competitive play. They're not balanced around that thought. They're similar to Mad Piano or Supersonic. They're just characters that are there for fun and not really intended for competitive play. So that frees you up a little bit to just do things that are pretty goofy, like Pepe's charge shot and his stun attack. Like they're just kind of ridiculous things we put together for fun. And so, yeah, and I just thought those were easy ads to. And Peppy it just seemed like a funny idea to me. Just the idea of Peppy being in one of these games because he's an old man. I don't know. Maybe you guys can add
Yeah.
any thoughts you guys have there, but
I think we had a lot of fun with the idea of Peppy and like going over his voice clips and stuff and choosing what we were gonna like put for his attack sounds.
yes,
His death sound is very funny too. Well, one of his death sounds.
definitely.
Doggone it. It's like,
love
yeah,
it.
that works.
His flashbang originally was just gonna be a flashbang that he just like no remote detonation or anything.
Hmm.
But I think I mentioned it, and Ben, who usually we go to for like moveset design stuff, Frey, uh, he basically just said yes to it because it just sounded like a really neat thing to be able to toss a flashbang and remotely detonate it like your snake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Greg, I feel like you carried Peppy. I don't know if I'm wrong here, but I feel like he's just kind of carried that character. He did a great job. He did a great job on the flashbang, especially because that's like a neat move. I did, some of the work for his neutral special where he charges up shots, but like that was nothing. The thing Greg put together with his down special, that flashbang bomb was a little bit more work, and I think pretty cool.
I feel like the flashbang is definitely sort of the centerpiece, if for lack of a better term, of Pepe's move set. Like that really differentiates him because all the other spacies, I guess we're calling them, they all have reflectors. And Pepe's down special is this flashbang, which yeah, it looks like one of the Nova bombs from Star Fox 64, but it has an F on it. And it blows up and it stuns you, whether you're in the air or on the ground. And like they said, you can remote detonate it, and it leads to some very funny things. I think it's kind of the primary example of what you were saying, Smash Father, about how like those him and Slippy are kind of just they're included as these like fun, goofy characters. They're not intended for or balanced around competitive play. It's just stuff that's fun, and that flashbang is hilarious. um did you guys kind of just like I know you said they seem like obvious inclusions because of the stuff that Sakurai had mentioned before, but um did you guys like is it kind of satisfying having like the full like Star Fox gang in there now? It's like you had Slippy kind of ready, Fox and Falco are in there already, and it's like, oh, we have to do Peppy now, right? Is that kind of part of it?
It started off as a Peppy, to be honest. We just said like let's add Peppy 2 at this point, and then I just kind of did it. There was a lull in development, which happens sometimes, and when that happens, I often get frustrated. And I was like, I just added Peppy. I feel like I was just like, we're gonna make Peppy now. So yeah, I just started off as a joke, pretty much. I mean, Peppy's a weird character to add. He was once again an old man.
Yeah.
So it's funny. I like having him in. And yeah, it is nice. Like, oh, we added all this supposedly theoretical. I'm sure someone will cook something up. They'll be like, well, you could have also added,
I mean, yeah, you know how that goes.
I mean, who knows?
Didn't add Pigma.
Pigma? Pigma
You
could
didn't
be
add
next
Pigma.
patch. You don't know. Pigma could be right around the corner.
Pigma leak.
Pigma leak,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
What
it's
else is there? Leon? I am the great
Yeah,
Leon. He
you could
could get
do
in
you
there.
could do
I
Leon.
love Leon.
I'm still of the opinion that Polygon Falco kind of looks a little Leon-like. I don't know if that was intentional. But it had
I
like
don't think
the
so.
head makes me think Leon. I love it. We do have some polygons this patch. Polygon Ganon, Polygon Falco, um, which is cool. I did want to touch on Slippy a little bit just because we obviously I think Peppy is sort of the more people have played as Slippy before in an older build of the game that was compatible with the Slippy edition. But Slippy is very interesting as well. His blaster's different. He has a jetpack that gives you kind of more aerial control over his recovery. He's very funny. He's got some of that like Wario like um, toughness
Yeah,
about
he
him.
literally has
Yeah,
Wario animations.
he
Yeah.
does have, yeah, he has some of Wario's moves and stuff. His taunt is hysterical. I feel like that's gonna be like the Marina taunt last time was like amazing, and I feel like the Slippy taunt this time is just gonna be like the one that people spam, like Slippy's here, like over and over again. His shine has an interesting property in that, unlike the others, it slows down projectiles. Like once they bounce off, they bounce back slower, which is interesting. You can kind of trip some people up um, with that. And you guys also, I think, was it Soap who updated Slippy's model?
Yeah, they sort of did some work on it. I think he was like, it was actually way more debate about Slippy's model than really needed to be done. Retro 64, you guys may remember this more than me, but Retro 64, otherwise known as Brian, he has a lot of strong opinions about things. And I feel like one of them was Slippy's color, and he just kept banging that drum. And like, there was this whole debate about what shade of green Slippy should be. And some tweaks were made just to improve Slippy and bring him up to the quality that we have now versus, Slippy was just kind of slammed together as a joke in like, in a week by Ben, and I think with some help from Soap. So we kind of brought him up to like the quality of that. And there was a debate about, I don't know, maybe you guys remember any pearls from that uh, color of Slippy debate, but
Oh, it was mostly Ben talking about his visibility. I think we ended up color picking the Project Slippy logo
Oh, that's funny.
for those curious.
Yep, I can attest to that. I think that did happen.
I know one thing I enjoyed on Slippy is that he has the like that necklace he has in Star Fox 2. Everyone who listens to this knows that I'm a Star Fox freak, so seeing that made me happy. I know I talked both Pringles and Halo's ears off about Star Fox at some point this cycle. So like as someone who just likes Star Fox and likes seeing stuff come together for the project, it personally makes me really happy to see the four of them together included in the game. So congratulations on that. That is not on top of Goemon, you have Peppy and Slippy and a couple polygons added this patch. It's certainly no small task to have that all ready within a few months. Um, and I think people are really gonna enjoy the content. Um, I wanted to move on to stages for a little bit because I feel like the stage team has very much popped off this patch. I know Pringles, you designed your first stage this time. I want you to tell me about how that was for you because all of a sudden it was like, oh hey, Pringles did a stage, and I was like, oh what?
Uh, it all started with that Peach's Castle 2
Yes.
rework, where I looked at the old stage and I was a little concerned because it was
oh,
just huge.
there's a lot of Pringles
Uh,
work starts by looking at stuff and be like, this is hot garbage. So that's just so you guys know.
That's like half your music work, isn't it? You're like, I hate this song. Doing it again.
no comment.
No comment. Okay. But you did Peach's Castle 2, which for anyone who's curious, that is the Smash Remix version of the Peach's Castle stage from Smash Bros. Melee. And that turned out fantastic. So you then did another stage for this patch. Could you tell us about some of the inspiration on that?
So this next stage, First Destination Remix, is more or less directly based off the intro to Smash 64, where when they're dropping the characters on the desk and it turns into like a makeshift stage, I pretty much recreated that. I rearranged some of the objects around just to give it a clear, defined layout.
Second destination.
This
Second
guy.
destination. Did you ever almost call it that? Just could you just not help yourself?
No, that's purely a Greg concoction.
So what was that like
Yeah, I
for you?
mean-
Like that's different from what you normally do. You're mainly the music dude, so going into modeling and designing stages is a bit different from what you usually do.
It was fun. I learned a lot about Blender, and I learned how much the editor loves me. And it was
Oh,
a very
yeah.
rewarding experience.
Yeah, that stage came out looking pretty nice.
I think it turned out fantastic. It's probably one of my favorites in this cycle. There were a lot of really cool stages this cycle. Of course, Goemon got a stage. Is it pronounced Edo Town? I
Yeah.
probably mangling that. Okay.
Edo, technically it's Edo.
Edo Town. Okay, see, I knew it. Which has a wall
This
on
guy.
it, which is great for his grappling mechanic. And I think it was it Quick Slash, who did some of the or worked on some of the signage in the level. I believe the texture that's on the wall that you can grapple onto on that stage says something special. They
Yeah,
were
I think
telling me
just
about
says
it.
Smash Bros.
Yeah. Which is cute, and that's kind of like one of those things that you would see in an actual like Nintendo published Smash game, is that kind of attention to detail. There was that. We got a Wave Race 64 stage, which is really cool, with the moving water, Twilight City. You added a Quest 64 stage. Can you guys tell me about your fascination with Quest 64?
What?
Pringles.
We don't. Yeah, we don't.
Okay, maybe
have the
Wii is
Quest
not the
for
right.
master.
Heron.
This is Heron's. You guys can explain more.
So Heron, he loves cranking out stages, and one day he posted a Quest 64 one in development, and I was like, "Wow, this is neat." It's got a layout we don't have. It's got you know, a series that we haven't really represented at all. That I think is at least worthy of a stage.
Yeah.
Um,
You were playing Quest 64 recently yourself.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. It's one of the games that taught me that I despise RPGs, and that's probably less about RPGs and more about Quest 64 specifically. But I digress on that one. I think it is one of those games that is like very recognizable on N64, and I think it makes sense that it has a stage. So it is cool to see it there. And Heron, if I remember correctly, Heron on their own time, like before they joined the team, they were doing Goemon themselves, weren't they? Like they're big
Yep.
into Goemon, which I
Oh,
think
yeah.
just
A little
kind of
bit.
worked out.
Yeah, he's really into Goemon. He partially added him when we did because like he just loved it so much, so I knew he'd have passion for it. But also just because we the team had been observing him and his skills develop, and we felt he was ready to join the team and make the next step. He's been an incredibly valuable asset for us in so many ways. I mean, it's the stages, but I mean, the trailer. He's become
He's really carried the trailer.
I'm excited.
huge.
I'm excited to see
And
it.
he's just He's really gotten a lot better. He's developed his skills. He's on. I mean, obviously, he advised on Goemon. I don't know if there's anything I can point to. It's just he had so many different things, advice on how the character could develop, and different pieces of artwork and things. But yeah, he's really improved and was a valuable member of the team this patch.
I guess I guess I should ask you guys right now. I know the trailer is not out yet as of right now, so but will be by the time this episode's up. Is there anything that you guys wanted to say about the creation of the trailer, or how you feel about how it came together? I know you guys have a dedicated video team. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Trailers are never pleasant to make. I
Yep.
don't know if I could. Well, they were back when I made them, and it was just me.
Enemy
They,
approaching.
actually that was hard for me. I'm not very good at that, but it was far less stressful because it's just like, well, here we go. The first version I made of my Ganondorf trailer, my wife literally laughed, so I had to start again. I
Oh
made like
no.
video footage showing. It was more like I showed off how he has like different, like how his his dare had a different effect. It had like an electrical effect at the time before we had a darkness type effect, and I was like new like electrical effect, and he did his down air, and then he like, but then I just like let him die off stage. I just like, yeah, whatever. And like my wife just could not stop laughing, so I had to redo that part of the trailer. But yeah, far less stressful than now because we're like basically making like Smash Bros. Pixar now with our trailers, and no one wants to do it till the last second. And the people who are best at doing it are too busy doing stuff that's actually valuable up until the last second. So that's how she goes, as we say.
You said the thing.
That is how she
I
goes.
said that phrase. Yeah, it's a phrase amongst our team now that these two have been added. But the thing is, like, I literally would just say that all the time in my everyday life, and so yeah,
It's
I was
therapeutic.
just that was a phrase I said, and then I'm like, now when I say it, it's like, oh, they're gonna think I'm saying the
Way she
meme we
goes.
have.
No.
Yeah.
I feel like the two things I've noticed most since joining is way she goes, and then random Travis touchdown posting, which has subsided a little bit. I'm kind of sad about that. Um, so getting back to stages for a minute, Heron, I believe they handle both the Criteria and Deco Tree
Yep.
refresh. So
Yeah.
yeah, those
Yeah, making
stages.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, no, no. I was just saying those stages are really cool and different now. Before they were very Dreamland. They're pretty much Dreamland, but now they're their own unique thing. What was some of the thought process behind that stuff?
So when those stages were originally made, we didn't have like Dreamland versions of stages. There was this desire to make more competitive layouts, and Dreamland, at the time was just kind of annoying with people were annoyed with Wispy, and so having these non-Wispy stages was like a novel and interesting thing. But as the team went on and things developed, there were a lot of competitive stages and there were a lot of Dreamlands, and it just didn't make sense to have a Dreamland clone as a main stage anymore. And we wanted to do something more fun and interesting. And Heron's got a great knack for making these kind of unique stages that these aren't competitive stages, I would say, but they are fun. They add something we didn't have before. And you can still keep if you want to go back to the Dreamland version, the dream is always there if you want to go back to that. But now we have something that's actually fresh and interesting.
Yeah, I think they turned out fantastic. I was honestly pretty impressed when even just like the initial versions of them showed up. They're very cool, so I hope people will check them out. Um, Next, I want to talk, especially Greg, with you. Something
Yeah.
big this cycle is there are a whole bunch of new gameplay toggles. I think the joke
Oh yeah.
this whole cycle has just
Greg the
been like
Toddler
yeah,
Factory.
how many of these are we gonna get? They just kept showing up for a while. So I guess what What was your thought process on this and what was selected and, just the process in general?
I'm trying to remember now the first toggle that I added that kind of
Footstooling.
kickstarted it. I guess
Hmm.
last patch, or was it the patch before, Kathy with tripping
Yes.
kind of was that kind of opened door or my thinking of like, oh well, what could we add that's kind of like that? And I think it was footstooling that I did first, and I think I worked on footstooling months and months ago, and I just kind of dropped it and didn't touch it again. I picked it back up again and just added it, and I actually forget what the next ones were after that. Maybe
Uh, I know air dodge was somewhat early, and footstool maybe was the next.
so.
Was
I
the first.
know Frey made the jab blocking one. I
Mm-hmm.
think maybe that was the second toggle we worked on after. Um, and then I don't know if I put any other toggles in after that, but Ben had made some code for air dodging and wall and ceiling teching. I knew that those were added in too. And then my thinking was if I could think of an easy way to implement it, then I was going to add it. So, like the ledge C jumping, like why not? If you're on the ledge, press the C button and you can jump up. Uh, Geez, I almost need the list in front of me. One sec.
Just didn't
I
stop.
was gonna
Like
say
I,
I've got it
Yeah, I would
here.
say I'm looking at it too. Yeah,
Spot
cloaking
dodging.
shield. Yeah, spot dodging, fast
Is
fall.
that? I forget. I think Ben made this spot dodging.
He might have. Oh, I'll have you guys know that I made some toggles too.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
Yeah.
like hit
Pokemon
stun and
Stadium,
Yes,
and
I
then
wanted to
like
talk about that too.
the hit lag and the hit stun
Best.
ones.
Yeah,
stadium's
So
what really matters.
the Pokemon Stadium thing is definitely what matters the most. I meant to mention it when we were talking about stages, but Gym Leader Castle is now a thing, replacing Kalos, and it's what a gorgeous stage. First off, it turned out beautiful, but I think the first thing with that playtesting build was there was that stage and it had the Pokemon Stadium announcer on it, and I think this is so freaking cool and kind of speaks to, like, again, the attention to detail and the fun stuff that gets added to this project, where you have the announcer from Pokemon Stadium narrating your battle now on that stage and the Pokemon Stadium stages, and more importantly, you can have him on every single stage if you want to. And I think, Justin, you did a lot of work, or all of the work on that, did you not?
I don't think anyone did any work on that but me.
Yeah.
I got
So tell me
carried
what you were.
away.
Yeah, tell me what you did, how it works. I'm so curious.
It's fairly simple. I guess it's not. I can look at my code. I've kind of forgotten about it because it's one of the first things I did. One of the biggest things I did this patch, just actually coding wise. But it's basically, it. One of the things it does is just it throughout the match, like randomly, he'll say things that could make sense based on attacks that are used. He'll say things, because when rest is used, there's a chance that he'll say like it used rest, or if a fire attack hits somebody, he can say it got burned. There's different ways. I found different hooks for things.
Right.
I thought of more ways to do this. I got carried away as was. The sound
Fire
files
punch.
that I added, yeah, are not like a small thing to add. They're a lot. They take up a lot of space. So I had to restrain myself eventually, but it took a long time for me to be restrained because it was just so fun. I got carried away. I think now it's at a good spot. Now I might add some more things in the
Jeez.
future, just depending on how I feel and how much space I want to burn up on this. But yeah, I mean, it's just a fun thing to play. I feel like, he speaks at a level right now where it's like he's not overly talking, but he's not, he's always around. That he's there.
No, he's there.
He's
He's
lit-
definitely there.
yeah.
I know there's that one where it's like the enemy is charging their attack, like when you're doing, like, charge
Oh
beam
yeah.
or
Any
whatever.
charging move. Yeah, you just have to
Yeah,
find the right little spot to dig in, and it was easy
that's so
enough to
good.
find.
That's probably one of my personal favorites. I think everybody, when they saw that, they were like, this is perfect. That was like one of the first things I think we got as play testers this patch cycle. So that's a blast. And yeah, you can have him on any stage if you like. So if you want to go to, Final Destination and have him bark at you, you can do that. Um, and then another thing too with the toggles, we had the air dodging, which ended up getting an air dash mode. Greg, do you want to talk about that a little bit and how that came about?
Oh yeah, so um, when I was like implementing phrase code for the air dodging, I accidentally made them do an air dash where you could interrupt the air dodge with an attack. So like you could just zip across the stage and then input a Falcon punch and then keep the velocity. It's really fun. So because it was a glitch, we just decided to keep it as a feature naturally. Um, so you can set it as like melee air dodging, or you can set your air dodging to something that's more resembling to ultimate, or you can just set it to air dashing and have a fun time with it.
Yeah, that's my favorite. It's the air dash. I know there was that one version of it where like you could keep air dashing over and over again, so it was like everyone was swimming in the air. It was kind of amazing. I kind of miss it
Oh
a
yeah,
little
I had to
bit.
fix that one. It was fun while it lasted because
Yeah,
we were just playing free for all games. I remember, and I would just play as Lucas and you know leave, just go off stage somewhere and just keep air dashing upwards, and no one would bother with me.
yeah, yeah. It was pretty funny. Something else I think you did as well this time is there is a new item. It's the golden gun. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Hey, before we leave the toggles behind, we cannot forget the Jigglypuff
Oh,
Sing and Yoshi Story Cloud graphics
yes.
restoration, because where would we be as a society without that? Well, actually, it is cool. John, Mario Reincarnate, you discover basically just like unused code or maybe even forgotten about code, because I don't know why they didn't implement it. Literally animation for the Yoshi's Cloud and Jigglypuff Sing that just honestly seem like they should have been in the game. I don't know, you guys maybe,
I think the
but like,
cloud is present in melee,
yeah,
where it
it's
just like
weird.
scales a certain way.
Yeah, it's
It's a
small
neat
thing, but
find.
it's a
The
neat find.
I really liked the Jigglypuff singing in particular. Like it feels like it should have been that way. It's kind of weird that it's not. So it
Yeah,
is nice to have that in there. But yeah. So this golden gun thing that's all the rage these days. It showed up in the last trailer, um, for Marina. Mario I think shoots it into the air,
Yeah,
and of course everyone is immediately like, "Where's the golden gun?" What? So now the
where's
golden gun
James
is here.
Bond?
Yeah, where's James Bond?
Yeah, the uh, like I would have never added the golden gun if it weren't for the motion sensing bomb being there
Yep.
already. And golden gun, like I was just thinking like, well, like what's an item that like we haven't kind of worked towards yet? Because like you have the ones you pick up and it gives you an effect, or you pick up and throw or something,
Right.
but we haven't like made any of that like it, similar to the ray gun where you can shoot it. Um, and I just wanted to go all or nothing with it and just have it the golden gun. Like it seemed perfect, and there was like I don't think anyone on the dev team said no to it. So it was like little friction. Everyone wanted to see it, and I think it turned out pretty nicely.
I mean, yeah, it is perfect. I would describe it as if the home run bat was a projectile, that's the golden gun. The little effect, there's an effect if you're shielding as well that I thought looked really cool. If you blast someone when they're shielding, there's like this shockwave sort of effect that's so satisfying. Um,
Oh yeah, I think maybe it does that because of how much damage it does.
mhm.
Like damage graphics will scale with how much damage is going to be put through.
Oh, interesting. So that wasn't even like a like I'm going to specifically do this so much as like it just happened to do that.
Yeah,
Oh,
it
that's awesome.
yeah. I I think it's definitely worth trying playing with taunt items on. You hit taunt button and then golden gun appears.
Yeah.
It's worth trying at least once. Maybe set it to 10 stock.
Yeah. You could do it on the Smash Get Ball stage too. Golden
God.
gun only Smash Get Ball. Getting a little dangerous, but so much fun. It's ridiculous. Um, so also big this patch, as was last patch, is the music, and we happen to have the lead musician here who's in charge of that fun stuff. So Pringles, what do you want to tell people about the music this patch?
If you like Pokemon, you're gonna have a blast.
I
Yes.
do. That's why there's so
Yes.
many of them. I commanded him to do it as my underling. I was like, make more Pokemon stuff.
Well, there's a lot of new stuff and some stuff that's being replaced. So yeah, I guess tell me what you think are some of the best pieces this time. Not to like choose between your children or people or whatever, but
I think my crowning achievement this patch is probably trainer battle, personally, just because it's fucking rocks. But
yeah.
It's a tough
Yeah.
call. I mean, it's really a tough call. I don't, you made a lot of great music.
But we did have a lot of fantastic contributions. Freyer Ben did Perfect from Wario Land 2,
That one's so good.
which was just such a unique track and really hit Wario in a way.
Yeah,
Just because it's such an oddball, out of left field track that you'd never expect it. And
yeah,
I think
you
it
wouldn't.
turned out really
You
well.
would definitely not think that would be included, and I think that might still be my favorite track this patch cycle.
I also one of our longtime contributors, Coffee, who's less active nowadays than he was before. He did the Q Watch music from GoldenEye, and we put that in as menu music, and I think that's a nice little touch.
That is cool. Yeah, it is neat to have more menu options that aren't, like the traditional menu choices. You guys did some Star Fox and Mario tracks as well. Mario World Athletic is here.
The Bomb Battlefield,
The
Rainbow
Bomb Battlefield.
Road.
SNES Rainbow Road is also one of my favorites because I love that song. You guys also had from Star Fox Boss E and Area 6, which are fun inclusions.
Yep.
You guys updated a bunch of music as well, as you typically do. It's just there's so much to kind of look at and check out. And I just always think it's always like one of my personal favorite things to see in remixes, like what music is chosen and how it's put together. Like the Goemon music came out amazing. What was it? Gorgeous Musical Castle, is that what that track is called?
Yeah, there's a few. Gorgeous Musical Castle's one of them.
Well,
So one that starts out as traditional Japanese music and then goes into like a Mega Man X style rock track.
and who was it that
Yeah.
handled that one?
That was the Mr. Iron.
Yes.
He died for that.
Yeah, we killed him
I
off
hope you all
with that one.
appreciate that soundtrack. That song with that medley was so hard that he's retired after
He's
that.
retired.
Oh man. Well, that's a way to go out.
Cost us a whole Mr. Iron.
But the main track,
track.
the main Edo town or Edo Castle song actually is perhaps Pun's best. Excuse me, Pringles. Excuse me,
Wow.
Pringles' best work. Pun's did a different medley, the Ocarina of Time medley, which you did.
Yes.
But Pringles, yeah, I'm thinking about your best work. It might be that Edo Castle medley. It is really excellent.
It is really good.
So,
Again, all of the Goemon music this patch is like amazing. And I'm just really happy and excited for people to hear it. You I think, was it you, Pringles, who also did the replacement for 8-bit Temple, the Great Temple and Dark Link
Yep.
medley, which is funny because like everyone has heard like the Great Temple theme before, but adding the Dark Link bit to it, I really appreciated as someone who really likes Zelda 2. It's nice to hear another kind of another track from that game represented.
I really just did it because I hated the fact that in the actual Smash, it just turns into Temple for no reason at all.
Yeah, it's kind of like, oh, you're doing another song that's not Temple, but then it becomes Temple anyway.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like, can we do something different? I
Yeah.
think it turned out great. There's just so many tweaks, and I know a lot of music was moved around or added and to different stages. So stages have, I think, a bigger variety of music selection now, which is great. You did someone did it was Horror Manor? No, Horror Manor wasn't this patch cycle, was it? I can't recall.
It wasn't this patch cycle.
It did get
But-
added to Mad Monster Mansion this cycle though, right? Is that what I'm
Yeah.
thinking of? Yeah. Which is
I think
very
it was
fun.
on. I think it was on Kitchen Island previously, and then I was like,
Yeah,
we got to make room for Perfect, being the perfect song and all.
it is the
So,
perfect song. Yeah. So it's fun, I think, on that stage. Obviously, that stage is not a Wario stage, but it is a fitting track.
thematically was, yeah.
Yeah. And I just want to bring special attention to the fact that Criteria's theme is now on Criteria. So if anybody, I saw people whine about that in the past. They're like, "You guys have Criteria, but it doesn't play Criteria on it." Well, Criteria has
It used to
Criteria
also
on
be
it.
called Zeeb's Landing, so
Yeah, it was. That's true. That is true.
That was also
So,
one of Dark Horse's many complaints.
oh boy. So beyond all of the big stuff that we've been talking about today, there is one last thing I really want to touch on with this patch because it received so much attention, and to me it's one of the shining features for Smash Remix for people who don't necessarily play competitively, or they don't, play too much with friends, whether it be, online or locally. And that is Remix 1P got a big a lot of love and attention this patch. And for anyone who's not familiar with the mode specifically, if you've played the standard one-player game in Smash Bros. 64, it's like classic mode. You go through, Master Hand's the final boss. Remix 1P is that, except more randomized, and it features all of the new content for Smash Remix. So, there's different bosses, there's different characters that will show up. You will see, a couple of very specific changes. And I think one of the big things this time for Remix 1P, I guess there's two. The first one is the difficulty adjustment, where the difficulty has generally gone down. But the one that I more wanted to talk to everyone about is there are a bunch of new duo fights in Remix 1P now. So Stage 4 in the one-player game in Smash 64, you fight the Mario Brothers, and for Remix 1P, you fought Fox and Falco together. Now there's a bunch of additional ones. So I was kind of curious how you guys selected the duos that you selected, and like kind of what the inspiration was to add that to the mode.
I just generally wanted, Remix 1P is my baby. I feel like, yeah, everything that it's 1P related, I feel like is mine. Correct me if I'm wrong, but everything that's 1P is like something I've pretty much made. I guess, let's see, Mario Reincarnate did make the, one of the reasons we got rid of alternate bonus stages in Remix 1P. You used to have like characters that have an alternate versus what they normally would have done.
Right.
We got rid of that. Now they just do what they normally do in the standard 1P. Reason is because Mario Incarnate added a mode where you can just play in any, with any character can play on any bonus stage. So it kind of made it duplicative and confusing for players who just play Remix 1P and are like, oh, they didn't make bonus stages for the new characters. We did. So
Please play them. We did.
but back to the duos. I honestly just try to think of like every conceivable duo that made sense. Like they just ones that could in any way, like, does this duo make sense in a, I guess more in a less in a fight kind of way, like, oh, what makes a good fight? It was more like, oh, what characters make sense to be together, like, oh, these two are Samuses, these two are from Earthbound. It was just like anything I could think of to justify just making it more original and mixing it up. I think generally I went with a theme of like of an original character matched up with a remix character. So that was kind of like anything I could think of with a remix character and an original character teaming up, and just adding more uniqueness to each run, making there more replay value, for the player. Um, and like we have Peppy and Slippy in there.
Yep.
And I think is really fun because they're kind of like a little surprise. You'll get in 1P every once in a while. And generally, I wanted to make 1P remix 1P just a more enjoyable experience. Keep challenge in there, but kind of getting rid of the more painful stuff that just isn't as fun. The way I did that was I kind of included the level 10 that Greg Halo here designed and put that as like the very hard mode. Also kind of getting rid of some of the damage sponging or high handicaps that were in there at the time. And yeah, it's just, I wanted to make it more of a fun experience while still making it a little bit more challenging than honestly, if you play very easy 1P mode, it is for babies.
Yep.
I honestly, it's like they don't attack you. So like that, we don't need, no one needs that. Just play. If you are a baby, ask your parents to put very easy mode on, and you can win that one. So
I love playing very easy myself.
yeah, it's fun. Like for testing purposes, I play very easy a lot because it's just like boom, 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 yeah.
Yeah, same. It's like, oh great, they cannot fuck me up. This is great.
Link,
I think
Link just stands there for like a minute.
Yeah, he straight up just stands there. It's like, man, that's not very Link-like. I could see maybe like Jigglypuff standing there or something, but Link just kind of stares at you. It's kind of unsettling. I really hope
that in.
Yeah, yep. I really hope that people who maybe have not explored some of the remix modes or haven't maybe were a little intimidated previously by the difficulty of Remix 1P, or maybe haven't even touched it in a little while, like they've played it plenty and they're looking for something a little different now. I hope people check that out because I really do think that the new duos add a lot more of a dynamic quality to the mode. It's really fun. And all of the duos have special poses on the the little like versus screen. So I hope people check those out and appreciate them as well because I think they all turned out really cool. And I guess actually one more thing. I'm sorry, I forgot another big thing that people have been asking for a while that was previously just never going to happen. But the new characters are on the data screen now. What made you decide to do that?
John, not me.
So
I would have never done that in my life. But Mario Reincarnate felt inspired. He likes to do random stuff like that, so he just wanted to do it, and he did it. And then he had, I would say, almost a fan. Like Aaron was swept away with it. I feel like everyone kind of got into it, but Aaron was like, it became his thing. He became the lore keeper for some reason. I don't know how it came together. But Aaron took a leading role in the lore. There was an Excel document. One day when we release all of our materials, that we can put that spreadsheet for people to see. I don't know, but
finally,
that one was.
I did look for all the ASM hard codes to get the biographies going, and then Mario Reincarnate, he just did his magic.
Popped off. Yeah.
It was one of those things where when I joined the remix server, like long ago, like that's I think maybe one of my first questions was like ask about the biography screen, and I don't know. I think it's nice to see, but I can see why it was never done before. Because you know, would you rather add something like that, or like add more gameplay related things?
Yeah.
Did I respond to that question? If that was your first question, I would have been like,
was it just
ask
like
a different question.
Oh.
I would
back
like ask
emoji.
for a different one.
Like, oh god, this loser. It's just one of those things, I think, that's like, obviously, I think you make the right point here, that it's like, well, if you're going to be doing a lot of work on stuff and there's so many things that you could possibly be doing, the data and biography screens are probably, on the low end of that list, considering that you could be adding characters or stages or music or, toggles or who knows what, to the game. But I think what's nice about them is that they really fit in with the rest. It's another thing that fits in with the spirit of the original game. And I think, I know some people have been asking for it for quite a while, and I think some of them have given up. And I guess uh, congratulations, they're here now. I hope you check them out. The descriptions are very good. Um, I know you guys tried to stay true to the style of writing that was in the vanilla biography screens.
Yep, the one line where it says Captain Falcon is very skilled at collecting prize money or something like that.
Yeah.
It gets me.
Yeah, there's there are some good nuggets in there. I hope people take some time to take a look at it. Um, but yeah, there's so many other things that have been added this cycle. I know Sonic got a balance update. I know, some other characters got tweaks. There's some new character costume, like color schemes, all kinds of stuff that we could literally go on forever about here. But I guess before we end, is there anything that we haven't talked about so far, um, that you either are really happy that you were able to do this time, or um, are just want people to, hope that people notice this cycle?
Listen to
yeah,
the
check
Game
out-
Corner track that,
Yes.
that Pringles also made. It is on Kalos as well, I believe. But listen to that one too. That's the
Kalos.
thing you should do. Not Kalos, formerly known as Kalos.
It's not
The
on,
artist formerly known as Kalos, now known
think
as.
it's on-
Is it not on the Gym Leader
it's
Castle?
on-
It's
on
no Gym Leader
Saffron, right?
Castle. I put all like the stadium-based tracks on. I think Game Corner's on like the Saffron City variants as a rare track.
Oh, I'm just thinking it replaced the track that was known as like Kalos something or other.
Yeah, something like
Oh,
that.
right.
I'd also like to tell everyone to check out the new Ganon's Tower, courtesy
Yes.
of Greg.
Yes.
It just looks, it's like night and day. It's incredible how much better it looks now.
I
It's more like
can't
night
believe.
and slightly night and much better night.
Yeah, I can't believe I forgot to mention that. Yeah, that turned out so nice. It looks so much better now.
Thanks. And the one of my favorite things with it was a Dark Horse idea. He mentioned like adding some foreground elements to the front there, and we add like a skull there. So
Yes. Yes, that's
it just
true.
looks
Yeah,
really
nice.
nice, and it feels like a bit more colorful than how it looked before. I really liked how it turned out.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it's distinctly less red, I think was the but it looks fantastic. Is there anything else, Greg, that you want people to check out this cycle? Well, this release, I should say.
Maybe
Well,
there's probably a toggle I didn't mention before.
well, where would we be without DDD having his belly enlarged for aerial jumps 1 and 2?
Yeah. Well, was a
That's
big
That's really
one.
like one of our
True.
core. It's really the foundation of Remix here.
Yes.
Oh, Sheik's skeleton. Sheik
Yeah.
has a skeleton now. I forgot to add that before. I made the model. I just didn't add it. when we first added she. So when she gets electrically shocked, she looks like Captain Falcon in the old release. But if you got a keen eye, you'll see. You'll see there's a difference now.
If you demanded justice for Sheik's bone structure, you've got it. I think for me, just a small thing is, of course, with new characters means new Kirby hats and animations. So I hope people check those out. I think just Kirby with Slippy's hat just makes me giggle. I don't know what it is, but I just think it looks so funny on Kirby. So definitely check that out. But I think that is probably going to wrap it up for us today. Again, if you are interested in checking out Smash Remix, it is playable on both emulator and on real hardware, like an EverDrive 64, so long as you have an expansion pack. Expansion pack is required, and you can go to, I believe is it Smash.remix, or is it, correct me if I'm wrong here.
Smash64.online, I think.
That's it. There you go.
Let me check.
Yeah, I always
It's
forget.
Smash64.online, and then it's there.
Yeah, you can you will need to supply your own legally acquired Smash Bros. N64 ROM, but there is an online patcher there for your convenience. And if you are playing on emulator, it does support NetPlay, so please think about checking it out. I want to thank everybody for being here today and taking the time to talk with me about this new cycle. I'm really excited about this patch. I'm really hoping that everyone will enjoy it, at the very least as much as I enjoyed testing it. The other thing too is there is an event coming up. Not quite in October, but very close to October. Justin, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Well, Smashtoberfest is another big Smash Remix and Smash 64 tournament. It's going to be my final tournament that I run as a tournament operator. It's going to be right here in Houston. It will be, let's see, September. It's in September, but it's based on Oktoberfest. But Oktoberfest, despite the name, is actually takes place. A good deal of it takes place during September. But yes, Smashtoberfest, as it's called this time, since it's my last one, is taking place. If you want to compete in Smash Remix or just see what a competition looks like, this September 29th and 30th, right here at Eighth Wonder Brewing in Houston. We'll be having a huge tournament with some of the best players in the world. Should be a good time.
Sweet. And if people want to sign up for that, where is the sign up for that?
It would be like start.gg/Smashtoberfest. So,
okay,
that's pretty much all there is to it. You'll go right to it. If you'll search for Smashtoberfest, it will pop up.
Perfect. We'll include a link to it in the video description as well, just in case. But yeah, please think about coming out to it. I'm gonna try my damnedest to be there. I'd love to see you guys. It'd be a good way to see off the end of your TOing career.
Thank you.
And get to hang with you guys. But for now, I think that wraps up everything today. Check out Smash Remix 1.4. It's out right now. And yeah, we will see you next time with more content. And if any luck in the future, we can do this again whenever the next update's out. But God, let's not talk about that right now. Please enjoy what's out there, and let them definitely let them enjoy the victory here. So that's it today. We'll see you next time, probably next week, for another episode of the Pipeline Podcast. Yeah, thank you for listening. Goodbye.